In 1497, an ambitious 22-year-old hiked up to the quarries above the Italian town of Carrara, looking for a perfect block of marble. He searched for months until he found it. His name was Michelangelo, and the marble became his immortal the Pietà. Since then, many other giants, think Bernini, Canova, have put their chisels to Carrara stone. Now there's an upstart, and like his star predecessors, he goes by a single name, Robo. Robo is part of a fleet of robots shaking up the art world, carving with pinpoint precision and in record time. But not everyone is happy. One artist told us Michelangelo would be rolling in his grave.
The story will continue in a moment.
The jagged ridges of the Apuan Alps stretch for 30 miles across northern Tuscany. Even in summer, their dazzling peaks seem covered in snow. But get up close. It's not snow, it's marble. Peel away the forests, wash away the soil, you'll find whole mountains of the most sought-after marble in the world.
It's remarkable. Yes, we are now approaching the Ravaccione Valley, the valley where you can find the stones that Michelangelo used in the past.
We were traveling with Giacomo Massari, the CEO and co-founder of Robotor, a company that makes robots that sculpt.
Some of this is in the statue of David.
Yes.
This was Michelangelo's old stomping grounds. We passed quarry after quarry. There are more than 600 above Carrara. The glare from the gleaming rock was intense when suddenly we hurtled into darkness.
Look at this.
A tunnel cut straight into the heart of a marble mountain. We drove until we could go no farther.
Our work starts from here. The first hard part is to get the stone.
We reached what quarrymen call the cathedral.
Yeah, let's try not to fall.
The track down was slimy with marble mud.
The cathedral.
This is mind-blowing.
From the floor, walls of stone towered above us. Giacomo Massari told us Carrara's miners had hollowed out the vast cavern over 200 years. We had come to see Robotor's next project, a monumental block of marble about the size of a railway car, 200,000 pounds of flawless Carrara stone.
You're going to move this block out of here?
We are going to move this big boy out of here.
How?
There are going to be a couple of cranes and a huge truck to lift it.
A feat not possible in Michelangelo's time, but then neither was this. Meet Robo, one of the brigade of robots taking over sculpture. We watched as Leonardo da Vinci's trademark hat was adjusted, not with a hammer and chisel, but a 13-foot zinc alloy arm and a spinning diamond-crusted finger. Water jets kept Leonardo cool. This was a week's work for Robo, with another 2 to go.
So if you were doing this the old-fashioned way, hammer and chisel, how long would this take?
10 times more, at least.
10 times longer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Massari told us his mechanical employees, 7 and counting, don't sleep, get sick, or take holidays. He took robots off the automotive line and gave them bigger brains.
And the robot will work all these ridges.
Robotor's chief technician, also a sculptor, turns the artist's model into a 3D file. That generates a complex set of instructions that tells the robot exactly where to carve, right down to the last half-inch.
How much of the work is done by the robot and the computer, and how much by the human artist?
We are talking a very high percentage that can be done by the machining.
Like how much?
Like 99%.
99%?
Yeah. And the very final 1%, that is the most important, is still done by very skilled artisans in our workshop.
Just 1%? But that 1%, Massari told us, can translate into months of human work. Still, we wondered, was using a robot a bit like cheating? If you have a robot doing 99% of the work, where's the artistry?
In the idea, how you program the machine, it's a work of art because it's an artistic approach. You need to have a sculptural background to program the machine in the way that you want.
Massari says Michelangelo, like other A-listers, employed dozens of apprentices who worked anonymously behind the scenes. Now it's the robot's turn, but not every artist wants to admit they have a robot on the payroll. There was work we couldn't film commissioned by big-name artists who insist their identities remain secret. Why is that?
I think they are afraid because most of the people, if you ask a direct question, do you like that this artwork is made by a robot, yes or no, 9 out of 10 will say no.
Do you think that people would think the robot's doing all the work?
Yes, but it doesn't make your idea weaker or stronger. If your idea is bad, you can make it with a robot or make it by hand. Still, the final artwork will be bad. But if your idea is good, if you make it with a robot or not, it will be still good.
But Tuscan artist Michael Manfroni told us only a human touch can coax the divine out of a stone. And that sounds like this. Manfroni told us Michelangelo would never lower himself to using a robot, and neither would he. And he says he despairs at seeing the master's work being copied by robots.
Secondo me è un sacrilegio.
It's sacrilege, he told us. Sculpting is passion. Robots are business.
Passione.
Manfroni first picked up a chisel at age 7, learning the trade from his father. Now those skills are on the brink of extinction. You have said, if you use a machine, you become a machine. Yes, because your mind is limited by the technology, he told us. It's only a computer program transmitted to the robot. You lose the satisfaction of having created a piece of art by hand. Manfroni is not alone. The prestigious Sculptors Guild of Carrara is dead set against robots too. They warn that Italy's artistic heritage is at risk.
There is a conservative mindset that wants to hold on to some imagined ancient way of approaching art that's mystifying to me.
Barry X. Ball is a contemporary artist based in New York City. He uses eye-popping stone to make works that have been shown at major museums around the world. He's a regular shopper here in Carrara. These blocks go for about $300,000, and on a recent trip, he bought a robot too. Ball told us he's come under fire for using them.
I hear a kind of fear that's almost like they're going to take our way of making sculpture away from us. Not trying to do that, we're trying to add to it.
I know you've heard the criticism that this is cheating. What do you say to the people who think that?
Number one, they don't understand the process. They think we're pressing print and the robot is plopping out a sculpture. We're very involved in the middle of that as humans with that creative process. But here it looks like...
Ball told us the robot made impossible art possible. Take Michelangelo's Pietà Rondinini. He was still working on it when he died.
Zoom in on the front of the sculpture.
Using a scan of the unfinished work, Ball created something new.
If we can get this head in there...
Instead of the roughed-out face of Jesus, Ball gave the Son of God the face of dying Michelangelo.
This is straight up and down. We need to tilt that back. Yep, exactly.
He broadened the pedestal and more.
I hope he's looking down on us, giving his approval.
Then the robot got to work, peeling away the stone until Ball's new Pietà emerged. Ball left some of the milling marks visible. It's like you want people to know that the robot was
Absolutely.
a partner in this?
It also gives this incredibly beautiful effect, which to me The first time I saw a robot milled surface looked exactly like the fluting you see in Egyptian drapery.
Ball told us he employs 6 finishers for every robot. His Pietà was shown at a museum in Milan. Carrara's miners pull out about 1 billion tons of marble a year from the quarries. Most is destined for kitchen countertops and bathrooms. Modern artists had begun to shun marble because it was too difficult to work and time-consuming. Robotor argues the robots are reviving Carrara's artistic fortunes by doing the heavy lifting.
To be honest, no one really likes the hard rough cutting. It's tough work, running a saw, whacking away big blocks. So everyone is really excited to be able to let part of that go.
Vermont-based artist Richard Erdman told us he added a robot to his team in Carrara about a year ago. After 2 back surgeries and 40 years in the business, he was ready for some mechanical help.
The other thing about the robo, which is advantageous, is there are no mistakes. When you're hand cutting...
No mistakes.
No, when you're hand cutting with a diamond saw, it's a 5-inch blade, you're following your model with compasses, you could go too far if the cutter isn't skillful enough, and that's a mistake. The robo is perfectly accurate.
Erdman's sculptures are held by more than 100 galleries and museums worldwide. In 1983, he made his breakout piece, Passage.
You can almost push it now with your hand, it's so close to falling.
A huge sculpture cut from a 700-ton block of Italian travertine. Working with a diamond saw, a jackhammer, and a polishing team, it took 2 years. Robo, Erdman says, would have helped. It sounds like the robot is your colleague.
It's not just a machine. When that arm is moving around, I'm really part of it. It's following your design. It's part of you. If it's a machine, that's beside the point. It's friendly. We all love it. There's no way around it.
Were you skeptical of the robots in the beginning?
Yes, we were, but one has to embrace it. The business is changing so fast with a robo that an artist that does not embrace the robo in their work is really going to be the artist left behind.
Erdman says now his robo does about half the work. Then he takes over, polishing the marble until it glows and finishing those hard-to-get-at places that the diamond fingers still can't reach, at least not yet. For now, the sounds that Michelangelo would have made still ring out. The marble will be here for generations, but we wondered, how long will the sound?